Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 43 of the Yarnivore podcast. I'm Sadie, also known as your host. Sadie Ruin on Twitter and Instagram, Blue Ruin on Ravelry. As you can hear, I'm sounding a little bit better. I'm feeling better. I still have a bit of a cough. I still have a bit of a gravel. But for the most part, it's starting to go away. However, allergies decided to kick up because everybody's cutting trees right now. Right now, it seems to be the time where everybody needs to clear out a tree. Which makes sense because in the winter you don't want them falling on the power lines when they get cold and stuff, or when the rains come. It seems to me that that's what seems to happen. So, I'm not. Please, cut the trees and cut around the power lines. But it makes my allergies act up, and rather than be groggy, I just decided to suck it up. So, I apologize if I'm a little nasally today. It has come to my attention, thanks to those, the reminders you get on Facebook. It's my 1 year podiversary from being back, so yay, I've been back for a year. And I just want to take a moment here to thank everybody who watches, who comments, who participates in the Ravelry group, who subscribes via YouTube, who goes to the blog. Just everybody who is involved in the Yarnivore community or the Yarnivorous community. It's been great being back, and here's to another year, I guess. It's been a year. It just so happens that it's episode 43 and not like 54 because I missed a few weeks. Life happens. Second cup of coffee. Alrighty. I have no FOs to show you this week. I really don't. It may be a while before I have an FO. I'm going to completely admit that I've decided to work on huge projects that are going to take longer. But I feel like that is okay. I think there's a point where you're a single podcaster. Maybe Karen from the Twist also feels it, or other single podcasters, of which there are many. JD from Twisted Strands. I'm not going to list every single podcaster I watch, but if you don't have the speed of Mina, which some of us don't, you almost feel the draw that you should have something finished, but you don't. And I think there comes a point where, as people that like to knit, it depends on if you're a process or a product knitter. I'm a process knitter. I do it to help with panic, with anxiety, with stress, with everything. I do it to calm myself down and chill myself out, and just get that meditative quality in that kind of pieces me out. So it doesn't really matter if I'm working on something big, but I also feel kind of bad with the podcast because I'm not showing off finished products. So 6 of one, half dozen of another. I guess I'm just going to have to feel bad. And y'all can tell me not to feel bad, and that's fine. Whatever. I'm working on it. I'm enjoying every minute of knitting, so that is the important part. Let's jump right into the works in progress. In my Pam bag, I have my True Friend, which is a Vera Valimaki pattern. Let me show you the picture again, because you can't get too many shots of this picture. It's just so pretty. So pretty. And again, I'm going to show you a lump. It is basically like a giant lump. There you go. That's how well I can stretch it out to show you. But I can stretch out these portions to show you what is going on here. So this is one of the mitered sections, and they look so pretty. Look at it. Look at that. I'm in love. I'm in love with my True Friend. And it is knit out of fingering weight. It is knit on, I believe, a US 4. These ones aren't marked, I don't think. Oh, no, yeah, they are. They're 3.5 millimeter needle, which is a US what? 6? No. 3.5? Is it a 3.5? Or no, 5? 5. Is it a 5? US 5? It's a 3.5 millimeter needle. I'm sorry, I don't have the conversion charty thingy handy. I am knitting it out of this gorgeous speckly goodness, which is Madeline Tosh Euro Sock, which is 100% merino wool. It's not super washed, so I am going to have to be careful with this, although I'm careful with everything. now. It's fingering weight, 435 yards, 100% merino, blah 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 blah, in the Murakami colorway, and I have 2 skeins. This is the first skein. I haven't dug into the second skein. Now it says 2 skeins for pretty much all the larger sizes, of which I am one. So I'm pretty low on the 2 scale, so I'm wagering I'm not going to have to use too much of it. But these rows are getting insane. Like, I clocked myself, and it's like 45 minutes to finish. Between 20 and 45, depending on what I'm watching on television. To finish a round. At this point, I think I have 6 left, but then I bind off. Then I'm done. And I switch to, like, putting on the ribbing and doing the arms, which is out of this, which is the Knitter's Nightmare in, it's the Batty Sock Base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino nylon, in the I Am No Bird colorway, which is a quote from Jane Eyre, which is possibly my favorite Victorian novel. Lots of people are Austen fans. I am not. I am all about the Bronte sisters. Give me Brontes, Brontes, Brontes. I want Brontes till I can't Bronte anymore. But yeah, it's getting there. Like, when I hold it up like this and it looks like a weird bag, you can tell how much has been done. But, like, so just for sanity's sake, like, I'm doing, it's the 52 or the 51 inch bust because it says to add a lot of ease, so I am, because I like wearing sloppy things rather than fitted things, because then I feel like I'm not showing off my multiplicity rolls. Not that I have a problem with, I'm learning to love myself, but still, I don't want tight clothes. I feel wrong in them. I don't like being restricted. I like being airy, so I want the big boxy one. And so I did go up considerably compared to what I usually would do. And especially for my size. Usually I go with my bust size or a little bit smaller. I figure it out based on my back size, and then I work from there. This one, I'm following the designer's pattern, or the designer's notes on fit. I'm really hoping to achieve. I want this drapey, big, boxy thing. That's what I want. I want it. I want it to be that big. Like, I want it to just hang. Okay? 1990s grunge, kind of. Grunge couture. But that's my goal with this. So, I mean, it's a 50 some odd, and so you're knitting the front and the back and the sleeves all at the same time. Essentially, you're knitting like a giant caftan? Not a caftan. Like an armless poncho. You're knitting a big piece of fabric, and so the rows are getting ridiculous. Ridiculous. Throw it over there on the bed. Having said that, still really enjoying it. I think it's the striping. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Or the speckles, because speckles are so hot right now. Now, in my Mina Makes bag, I have my For Megan Cal work, which of course we discussed last week, and I want to thank everybody for their condolences. We were acquaintances. I would say we were almost friends, but I wouldn't say we were like close friends. I just know that she was a really amazing dyer, and she had a really great sense of humor, and subsequently I am knitting this in the For Megan Cal. You can join it. It's FORMAEGAN. If you follow me on Instagram, I hashtag this with that. And my this is not long enough right now, but that's fine. I don't mind things smished on the needles. My problem is when I go to show it and it's like, hey, look, it's a bag. I am using, what are these? 3.5? Yes, US 4 3.5. So that's what it is. The True Friend is also knit on a US 4 3.5, which seems to be my standard. Even when it calls for a 4, I'll go down to 3.5 now. This is the Garter Goodness Shawl by Stephen West. I am knitting it out of 100% Cyborg's Craft Room yarns. So this first yarn is on a Sparkleite base, which is a 25 or a 70, 20, and 5 superwash merino nylon stellina in the Boxo 96 colorway. Box of 96. And then there's some stripes in here, which will of the next color to come, just because I felt like throwing some stripes in there, which of course Stephen West encourages everybody to do. And that's out of the next color, which is on the Asocolate base, or no, a Squishalate. A Squishalate is the 80-20, and this is Spirograph Nebula. And that's the one that'll come up next. After that, I have not balled up or caked up Impromptu Dance Party. And then I'm going to finish it off with Stellar. How old is this? Look, it's the old labels. Before they were color. So, yeah, that is what I'm up to on this. I just finished section 4, I believe, and I'm on to section 5 of 6 sections. Or is it section 3 and I'm on section 4? I just finished a section and started a new one. So I added another row of yarn overs on this side. I'm using a whole schwack of different stitch markers. I got my Begin stitch markers, which are old school. I've got one that I got from Froggy Monkey. It's a little mouse. I've got 2 of my little brains from Decor Noir. Little hanging brains. So I'm just grabbing random ones as I need them. This is a really nice mindless knit, so I've been enjoying working on it. That marks my front. I've got my little diddly-doo that marks my front. I should probably move it up so that I know to show you how far I've come. Let's just move that up, shall we? I really suck at marking progress because I forget about it till I'm like, oh crap, I didn't move that up. There we go. Okay, so it is still on the front side. I've just moved it up so you can see how far I've come, because it's really hard to tell on some of these shawls, but like it's getting ridiculous in this one at least. So this is the Garter Goodness by Stephen West. It is a paid for pattern, and as you will find out, this episode is probably going to be called 1 year or Westaholic, because of the 3 things I've knit on this week, 2 of them are Stephen West. Right, Petrie? Yes? No, she does not want to come up. She just wanted me to say hi. Okay. The other thing I've been knitting on, which has only really gotten 3 days of work, which is going to be laughable when I show you. Let me grab this. And it's huge already. So as you may know, when my husband was away last time, I endeavored to make him a giant friggin' blanket of barn racing squares. And that is a great blanket, and it was great for where he was. He was in a tropical region, so he needed something for in the air conditioning, but he didn't need something to keep warm. Well, this time he's going to be on a boat, which means he's going to be cold, because from what I understand, it's cold under the waterline, which is where they all sleep. And so he was joking around and was like, you should make me a blanket. And I was like, yeah, I should. And I realized I had a lot of yarn left over from not having finished the cabled monstrosity, which, by the way, everything got frogged except for like the sewn together part that I couldn't undo, which is now a pillow. If you're wondering, I completely gave up on it, but I still have all the yarn left over, of course, because I have all the yarn. So I went online and I looked up some stuff, and I thought, hey, Tracy's made this, and it was really quick, and she really liked it, and it looks really squishy and awesome. It says worsted held double, and I happen to have some worsted. It's acrylic. Oh, it's acrylic. This one is 96% acrylic, 4% viscose. So it gives you a little sproing. The viscose is the nibs. It's Patton's Canadiana Tweed, probably older than I am, and Eaton Lady Fair in their worsted tricoterie, knitting worsted, made in Canada. which is awesome, but that is definitely older than me. Actually, I got the ball and it was like wound on top of itself, and it's acrylic, it doesn't matter, but like as I'm unraveling it and knitting it, the I actually know what it is now. This is actually coming out. It's Sayel's Eaton Lady Fair knitting worsted. I did a lot of snuggles out of this stuff. It wears like the dickens. It's actually quite soft for an acrylic. It's not. It doesn't feel like Red Heart. Neither of these feel like Red Heart, which is good. So after seeing Tracy finish this one pretty quickly, I decided that it's a free pattern. It's awesome, and it's the Garter Squish blanket by Stephen West. So I cast on, held double, and as you can see, there is some taupe. I'm alternating between taupe and white because I have taupe and white in the tweed, and then I'm knitting it. So it's one strand of this and one strand of this, and then when this runs out, I'll switch back to the taupe. I just switched to this skein from being a ball of taupe. And basically, this is 3 days worth of knitting. I would like it to fit his rack, to be as tall as him, and I think I have enough time. I'm hoping, which means that this could get like all the love next week. You may not see it'll be like, look, I have a blanket, okay, we're done. And it is quite wide. I can't stretch it out to its full extent because it's on the needles, but I have no problem wrapping it around me, and I am wider than my husband, if you don't count his shoulders. So it is a very big, very squishy blanket that will keep him nice and warm. And if he needs to, it's acrylic. He can throw it in the wash. He can throw it in the dryer. It's not a big deal. And yeah, so that's been the bulk of what I've been working on knit-wise, is this. And it's very smishy, and it's going to be nice and warm. It's very simple, so for me it's really easy to do, which I like. And like I said, this is my top priority right now. Like, I switch back and forth between other things because I find that the big needles and the double stranding can really start to hurt my hands, which I noticed on the latest episode of The Charm of It with Eva. She was talking about how her rheumatoid arthritis is affected by different knitting styles and how she switches different styles, different yarn weights, different needles, she just switches everything up a lot, and because certain things hurt her hands more than others. And what I've noticed is that when it comes to needles, it's not so much the needle, although when they're smaller and they're wood, it's better. Although I still love metal needles for socks and stuff as well. But when you're doing the big ones, it really starts to hurt my hands after a while, so I tend to only go for like an hour or so. My bangs are really bugging me today. Can you tell? Can you tell? Can you tell? When I'm going at it for too long, I really have to stop because it'll start, with the way I grab my needles and my yarn, like these fingers just, they go, and it's, what can you do? You can smile and nod is what you can do. Okay, I gotta check my notes now. Alrighty. So, those were my works in progress, like I said. Really focusing in on the garter squish. And that is my goal. I want to have it finished possibly next week. I see that as highly doable, given that, like, I mean, those are, you're supposed to go with a 13, a US 13. I think that's a 15 or a 10 millimeter needle. I couldn't find my 13. I know I have one. I don't know if it's actually a circular or not. I have a huge honkin' circular one that's like a 20 or something. So these are 8 millimeter needles, which is 2 sizes down from what it's called for, but it's not really giving me a problem. It's still big enough. So There was a shop update yesterday. There's still some stuff in there. I am doing some Halloween and fall themed stuff, which will only be in the shop basically until Halloween. And then I'll switch. I'll probably have a Christmas thing or two. But currently, I'm throwing some Halloween stuff out there. And so I will show you what is currently up in the shop. And after that, I will do the drawing for the Canada Cal and talk about a knit-along I'm thinking about doing in October and November. Depending on how people feel. Okay. So their Splatterpunk is back in stock. This little guy, why are you sticking out like that? Splatterpunk, ever so popular, back in stock. This one's a new one. It's been very popular so far. It's called Haunted Farm. It's oranges, a little bit of yellow, some gray, and purple. And this is actually, it was inspired by this place, and I wrote about it in the description box. But back in Regina, where I was born, if you head out past Courtney in the north corner, there's a place called Dead Man's Farm. And maybe it's because I went to school at Centennial, and it used to be that there was nothing past Courtney and Rochdale. Very little was past Rochdale and Courtney. And now there's actually developments out there. But it used to be that there wasn't that much. Like, you could go and you could look out to the field. But hold on a sec. I have to tell Mom I'm podcasting. She is currently traveling home. But you could go, you could stare, you could look at the field. And in the field, yonder, was this dilapidated farm that's completely falling apart. It was a farmhouse, and everybody called it Dead Man's Farm. You grew up hearing stories, ghost stories about Dead Man's Farm, people having weird experiences there. You could stand in one place and hear all the tractors and combines. You know, someone said that they found really old bottles of medicine, like dating back to the 1800s, like bottles with nothing in them, but like of medicine dating back to the 1800s. So that just really reminded me of like that aspect at Sunset. Used to scare the crap out of me as a kid. I probably still would to go there. I'm not sure if it's still standing or if they bulldozed it, but as of when I used to live there, it was still there. So I don't know. But if you know anyone from Regina, you can ask them if they ever heard about Dead Man's Farm, because it was very like the northwest corner where I grew up, because I grew up in the northwest, and then I went to high school in the central area and finished off in the central, lived in the south when I went to university area of Regina. So I've lived all over Regina. I bought a house in the northwest corner, but anybody who grew up in that corner usually knew about it because it was like the big scary thing that frightened us. So I feel it's very Halloween-y to have a haunted farm. Dead Man's Farm. This one is, it's just a new color. I'm not sure that it really reads as a Halloween color. It's greens, various shades of greens, a hint of blue and gray, and then a shock of orange, and it's called Underwater Thing, which is a reference to a Tori Amos song, of course, because that is how I roll. Then we have this guy. It is called Harvest. This is one of the fall colors. It's not going to be around past Halloween probably, unless it's like super popular. And purples, blues, a hint of pink with an orange, you know, the colors of Harvest at Sunset. Because apparently I'm really feeling my roots this week. One of the other Halloween colorways is called Creature Feature, and it is shockingly bright greens with a really bright blue and a black. And it's a great little Halloween colorway. The last of my Halloween colorways is this one, and it's called Original Scream Queen. Hey, 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 hey. No falling. Got a giant thing going on here. Original Scream Queen, because it kind of reminded me of like vintage horror movie posters. And it is bright purples, bright oranges, and a black. The last one I have for you is this guy. And it's got mint, it's got pink, it's got red, it's got purple, a little bit of yellow, some gray. It's really, there's so much going on here, it's almost impossible to say it all. And it's called Cymbeline, which is possibly one of my favorite Pink Floyd songs. It's from a soundtrack for a movie called More. Relatively indifferent to the movie, but the soundtrack is amazeballs because Pink Floyd did it, and that's like my favorite song. I don't know why I love it so much, but I do, and you can't go wrong with David Gilmour. So that's the shop update. Those are all up in the shop. They're up in the shop as of yesterday, so run on over and get some if you want some, because they are moving pretty steadily and pretty quickly. Right, so now we're into the final portion of the day, which is we have to draw for the Canada Cal FOs 56 images, which means I said for every 20 I would throw in another. So there will be 2. We didn't hit 60. So I'm not going to do 3. If we had hit 60, I would have added another skein of yarn and another drawing. I have to bring up random number generator on my phone. I've got the thread open on my iPad. See, I pre-planned this pretty decently. And random.org. Okay. So, on the first poster, I'll put a number 2 to start. Last poster is number 57. And if I pull one of mine, then I will regenerate. And let's make it hopefully 2 different people win. So the first one I will be drawing for a skein of Harvest in the Batty sock base. And we hit generate, and I got number 37. Thank you. Post 37. Who's 37? I know this is positively Thrillsville for you. 37 is a Wilda. So, way to go, Wilda. I hope you're feeling better. She had a flu. She had the cold. Does she still have the cold? Either way, way to go. This one's yours. And my second. And she won with... she did skew socks out of my On the Bus colorway. Self-striping. And the second winner will get a skein of Siren Sport, which is 80/20 Superwash Merino Nylon, 328 yards, in the Mermaid colorway. And I hit generate. We get number 21. Kabow. Who's 21? 21 is on the first page. Ten. 21. LMECOLL. Elmicol, who won with the Pretty Gallo Pavo by a Canadian designer. And this lovely little hat that looks like that. So if that is you, please contact me. Message me with your address, and I will throw that in the mail for you. Congratulations on winning. That is so awesome. I'm thinking about doing a knit along through October and November for a sweater. And I'm thinking that I should be nice because I have a sweater that I have like this much done on. And it's mostly inspiration for me to finish up some of my sweaters. So I thought maybe if we have a sweater knit along where as long as you're not like, if you're less than 50% done, like If you have less than 50% of it done, you can use that as an entry. What do you think? Should we do that? Should we? And I want to say that if we do this, if we do the dark arts, do you do the do? Do you do Gallivant? Have you seen Gallivant? It's on Netflix now. You should just stop watching me right now. Go watch Gallivant, because it's on Netflix and it's amazeballs, which is apparently my new word. But do you do the do? Would you do? Anywho, now there should probably be a rule about kid sweaters versus adult sweaters, because I'm talking about adult sweaters. You can't have a half-started kid sweater. Maybe you should do 2 kid sweaters if you're going to do kid sweaters. I'm not sure. I've got a little bit of time. I think I have another week to solidify that, but I'm going into October and November thinking I'm going to have a sweater knit along, so you should start planning that, because not only can you piggyback off of Mina's, there's a couple different knit alongs going on where you could actually do multiples, as long as you're not 50% or greater. And I think what I would require for that is then on the first day of October, you post a picture of where it is right now, so we know that it wasn't 50% started, and then you can edit and add the finished product, and that'll be like a placeholder for you. That's my thought. Let my brain congeal a little more, and we'll see. But I think that's the plan, because I really want to get my winter wheat done, and I think if I have a sweater knit along for a couple months, it'll really force me to finish up a couple sweaters, and I want sweaters for the cold. It's gonna get cold. And I'm not going to have a man to keep me warm, so, except Bebop. But Bebop only really keeps my leg warm. He's not big enough. Snuggling with a small dog is just not. I love it, don't get me wrong. I love my cuddles with my pets, but yeah, no, he's tiny. Alright, that's everything I've got for knitting. Congratulations to the winners, and do get in touch with me. Actually, I'll probably get in touch with Awilda, because I often get in touch with her, because I test knit for her, and I love her patterns, and she has Dresden patterns. Come join the Ravelry group, and if you are wondering about updates, etc., etc., you should really join the Ravelry group for Knitter's Nightmare Yarn, or join the Facebook group, because I post where it's going to be, when it's going to be up there, so you don't have to wait and find out that stuff's gone already. And I will see everybody next week. Have a great week, and happy knitting.